2024 is shaping up to be another fantastic year for the adult games industry. The biggest surprise for me has been the explosion of awesome games coming out of the Asian market. Of the 17 games on this list, 10 of them come from Japan, China, or Taiwan. I'm going to talk more about that in this week's podcast, as well as what we should expect to see overall in 2024. As always, all links can be found for free on my Patreon. Now on to the games. At number 17, we have a game that was on my top DL site list for 2023, Self-Defense Dojo. In this RPG, you play as a new instructor of a judo dojo. It just so happens that all of your students are women, and most of them are already in relationships. When you're not teaching, you can travel to different areas on the map like a river to fish at, or take another job at a construction site to earn more money. The grind is pretty rough if you want to achieve all of your Notori goals, but there is a new Game Plus mode to help you out. Self-Defense Dojo is available for PC on Steam and DL site. At number 16, we have Lunar's Chosen Episode 1, a fantasy visual novel I covered way back in 2021 when it was first released as early access. This is a magical harem-building open-world adventure with optional futanari and monster flavors, impregnation, and semi-animated scenes. Lunar's Chosen Episode 1 is available for PC, Mac, SteamOS, and Linux on Steam, with an Android version on their Patreon and itch.io. From the same developer of Cobalt Care, number 15 is Churn Vector. Unfortunately, like most monster and furry games, I can't show much. This is a 3D action simulation where you have to sneak your way out of a facility. If you do get caught, you'll have the option to attack or eat the guards. Either way, it's very hands-on. And by hands, I mean your penis. As you may be able to guess, the main flavors are furry, inflation, and vor. And the sexual interactions are animated. Churn Vector is available for PC, Mac, SteamOS, and Linux on Steam and itch.io. Coming at number 14, we have the Genesis Order. I reviewed the sequel to my 2021 Game of the Year, Treasure of Nadia, last year. While the Genesis Order has way more animations and sexual scenes, I definitely thought Treasure of Nadia was the better game overall. And I guess so did most people who played it on Steam. Don't get me wrong, this magical mystery is still a great game. Just not Game of the Year great. We'll just have to see how the next game in this series, Symphony of the Serpent, plays out. No pressure, NLT Media. The Genesis Order is available for PC, Mac, SteamOS, and Linux on Steam, with an Android version on their Patreon and itch.io. Number 13 is Guardians of Eden, the game that reminded me of Bloons Tower Defense and was on my Steam Next Fest video. Since it came out in March, it's been doing really well. You play as a priest who has just been forced to take care of these powerful monster girls in order to vanquish the Demon King. However, you quickly realize that taking care of meant more than just simply keeping them safe. While monster girls are the main flavor here, there is also some futanari content, as well as many animated sexual scenes. Guardians of Eden is available for PC on Steam. Fallen Shinobi takes the number 12 spot. This is a trainer simulation that was actually on my top DL site games for 2023. There are 3 types of training that you can perform: service, violation, and or humiliation. But be sure to keep track of the love interest affection level, which will affect the multiple possible endings. The sexual interactions are all animated and fully voiced. Flavor-wise, you can expect to see tentacles and BDSM as you slowly corrupt the fallen shinobi. Available for PC on Steam, but it also goes by Ninja Disgrace on DL site. At number 11, we have Bunny Garden, a dating simulator set in a hostess club. Even though this game is made by the same people who made Nin Nin Days, Bunny Garden actually doesn't have any sexual scenes. But instead, it does have a ton of scenes that involve adult content like panty shots or lewd poses. There is also an ASMR feature, as well as more intimate opportunities if you become a VIP customer. Increase the cast's affection enough, and you could even go on dates with them. Bunny Garden is available for PC on Steam. At number 10, we have Working Sakuya. This is a kinetic novel with really good animations of sexual interactions that are fully voiced. Since there really isn't any gameplay, this title is fairly short, but it manages to tell the story of a maid who falls completely in love with you, and even goes a little crazy for your affection. Working Sakuya is available for PC on Steam and DL site, where you can also find an Android version. Coming in at number 9 is Hole Dweller. This furry game feels a lot like a mobile experience like Cookie Clicker. There is a bit more to it where you harvest resources, earn money, and buy gifts for the 9 romanceable characters. This isn't very complicated, but the minigames are fun and the sexual interactions are animated. Hole Dweller is available for PC on Steam, Patreon, and itch.io. Set in Scotland after World War I, number 8 is the visual novel Changeling Tale. You play as a soldier returning from the front, and I don't want to spoil anything, but the story is really good if you like the furry flavor. This is mainly a romance with magical transformation. Unfortunately, the sexual interactions are not animated and are silent. While that is a bit disappointing, I really like the art style. Changeling Tale is available for PC, Mac, SteamOS, and Linux on Steam, with an Android version on their Patreon and itch.io. At number 7, we have Parasitic Evil, and surprisingly, it is our only horror game. The world has come to an end and you are trapped in a hospital. Why do so many zombie games take place in hospitals? This is a slow transformation theme where you have to escape before you are turned. In the meantime, you have to solve a bunch of puzzles and hide from the monsters pursuing you. But you still somehow make the time to have sex, with animations, in the middle of this nightmare. Parasitic Evil is available for PC on Steam. Next at number 6, we have Prince of Suburbia Part 1. This game had an early access release in 2022 and then fully released in December of 2023. Since development started in 2017, this title has come a long way, especially with their art and UI system, which now look cleaner and more polished. While there are some free roaming aspects, it is mainly a kinetic visual novel where you're trying to romance pretty much all of the women in your life. The sexual interactions are animated and fully voiced. Prince of Suburbia Part 1 is available for free for PC, Mac, SteamOS, and Linux on Steam, with an Android version on their Patreon and itch.io. At number 5 is Humans Are Not That Against Lizardwomen, and I really think this is a parody of Lizards Must Die, but I'll let you decide. Anyways, this is a match 3 puzzle game with visual novel aspects, where you are tasked with taking down the lizard people, but you find yourself possibly falling for these ravenous reptiles. There are animated sexual interactions, with some sounds, and this is definitely an exploration of the furry, scaly flavor. Humans Are Not That Against Lizardwomen is available for PC on Steam. Next up is Peeping Door Manager at number 4. The gameplay and pixel graphics remind me a lot of NTR Legend. The mini-games are decent, and the story is entertainingly ridiculous if you enjoy stealing other people's girlfriends. The voiced and animated pixel sexual interactions are also a lot of fun. Turn your dormitory into a voyeuristic paradise in Peeping Door Manager, available for PC on Steam. The arrogant Kaiju princess and the detective servant takes the number 3 spot. This is by the same studio as Kaiju Princess, and while this is not Kaiju Princess 2, this trainer sure feels like it. There are multiple romanceable monster girls that are fully voiced in the animated sexual interactions. Kaiju Princess 2 is supposed to be out later this year, but if you enjoy that style of game, definitely check out the arrogant Kaiju Princess and the detective servant, available for PC on Steam. Next up, we have Living with Sister Monochrome Fantasy, which just came out in March and is already the number 2 game. This is a wholesome fantasy visual novel RPG hybrid with time management aspects, Pokemon-style battles, and with the goal of taking care of your sick sister. As you can see, the whole game uses a monochromatic color scheme, which really makes it striking. What the game lacks in color is definitely made up for in its many highly interactive animated sexual scenarios with multiple romanceable characters. Just make sure to get the patch to fully experience Living with Sister Monochrome Fantasy, available for PC on Steam, DL Site, GOG, and Conqueror's website, where you can get the patch. And at number 1, we have Winter Memories. This was the top DL Site game for 2023 and the sequel to Summer Memories. Our main character is once again on vacation, but now it's winter. Reconnect with all the previous love interests and meet some new ones as well. There are more mini-games, places to explore, events to experience, as well as new sexual interactions and animations. Like I mentioned in my review from January, the Steam version is heavily modified, so you will need to download the patch. Winter Memories is available for PC on Steam, DL Site, GOG, and Conqueror's website. There you have it. I'm not sure if 2024 will end up stronger than 2023, but we're off to an amazing start. Let me know which title you think will be Game of the Year, and do you think a Western game has a chance? but I'll talk more about that in the podcast. Until next time, no shaming, just gaming.